you just got back from the Middle East.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the whole world, but maybe start there. I'm wondering, like, in terms of biggest surprises, is it how much the Israelis have reestablished escalation dominance? Is it Iran and the axis of resistance looking like a big deal and then imploding? Is it what just happened with Assad and the rollout in Syria? Where would you stack this is the thing that we probably least expected?
Yes. I mean, every one of those pieces has been maybe not surprising directionally, in the sense that, one could see the ways in which Israel, frankly backed by the United States in terms of much of what it has accomplished, was taking the fight to its enemies. One could see the weakening and the fracturing of the axis of resistance and the weakening of Iran. And one could see the pressure on Assad, particularly because his two main patrons, Iran and Russia, were distracted and weakened. But the speed, the scope, and the scale of the remaking of the Middle East in this short amount of time, I think you'd find very few people who could have predicted all of that, and that we would be sitting here in December of 2024 with the picture looking the way that it looks.
Does the picture today look at least modestly more stable than it did a year ago, or does it look worse?
I've been reflecting on this question, because the thing about foreign policy and geopolitics is that when good things happen, often bad things follow. When bad things happen, often good things follow. And nothing is ever fixed in time. There's always something around the corner. So is there a huge opportunity right now? Absolutely. In that sense, the possibility of a more stable, integrated Middle East, where our friends are stronger, our enemies are weaker, that is real. And in fact, Iran is at its weakest point in modern memory.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are huge risk factors, and you can see them maybe most in living color in Syria, where the Syrian people have the chance to build a better future in a post-Assad world, but where there are very evil people who are looking to take advantage of this current moment, starting with ISIS, but other terrorist and jihadist groups as well. So I think we're at a moment of profound opportunity, but also a moment of profound risk, and that means that we have to handle this situation with clarity and effectiveness. And the interesting thing is this comes in the middle of a presidential transition in the United States.
Which makes it harder for you.
It makes it harder because...
I'm thinking specifically Syria, for example.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it harder because, and this is something that my successor, Mike Waltz, has actually said, other countries, other actors, particularly our enemies and adversaries, look at transitions as moments of opportunity, because you have this seam between an outgoing administration and an incoming administration. And so the imperative on us, both the outgoing Biden administration, the incoming Trump administration, has to be to lash up more tightly than is typical, to spend more time together than is typical, and to try to ensure we are sending a common, clear message to both friends and adversaries in the Middle East. And we have endeavored to do that over the last few weeks. Obviously, we disagree on a lot of things under the sun, including perhaps on certain aspects of long-term strategy in the Middle East or elsewhere. But where we agree is on many of the fundamentals here, and especially on the point that we should not let anyone take advantage of the United States during this time of transition.
I think some people were surprised that when Trump won, that Biden and President-elect Trump had a very civil sit-down discussion in the White House, despite what they had both said about each other over the previous months. And more recently, you've had several very constructive meetings with the incoming National Security Advisor. And frankly, my sense is that the alignment in how both of you see the world is a lot more similar on a bunch of policies than most people in the public would presume. Is that a fair thing to say?
I think it's fair at an elemental level of each of us being totally committed to the American national interest, each of us recognizing that we have real adversaries in the world, one of them being Iran, and we have friends and allies who we need to stand up and defend and back, one of them being Israel. And so that gives you a basis to work on. Now, I have been myself, President Biden has, the rest of our national security team has been subject to lots of criticism from President Trump's team over the course of the past years. We've criticized President Trump's statements and record on foreign policy, so it's not like we see everything the same way. But at this moment, on big ticket items, when we need some degree of smoothness and continuity in the handoff from one administration to the next, I think both the outgoing and incoming administrations see the bigger picture. For this moment, what we are trying to do on behalf of the national interests of the United States, I think is extremely important, despite the deep differences that do exist in terms of the outgoing and incoming president and outgoing and incoming administration.